Beverly Theater, Los Angeles, November 19th, 1983, 11:47 p.m. The air inside was thick with sweat and anticipation. James Brown stood center stage dripping, cape draped over his shoulders, when he suddenly stopped mid-song and pointed into the darkness. The band froze. 4,200 people went silent. "You!" His voice cut through the theater like broken glass. "Purple boy sitting in row 7, trying to hide from the Godfather." The spotlight found him. Prince, wearing a purple trench coat, sunglasses at midnight, frozen in his seat. The crowd erupted in shocked gasps. James Brown's eyes narrowed. "Get your narrow behind up here, right now. Let's see if you're as funky as they say you are." This wasn't an invitation. This was a public execution. Prince had walked into Beverly Theater thinking he was invisible. He wanted to study the master from the safety of the crowd, but James Brown's people spotted him immediately. Word reached James backstage. "The young prince who thinks he invented funk is here." James Brown's response, "Good. Let him watch what real work looks like." For 2 years, he'd watched Prince climb the charts with a sound borrowed from the funk foundation James had built with his blood. Now this kid was on magazine covers talking about revolution, like he'd discovered fire. James Brown had invented fire. Tonight, he was going to remind everyone. Prince sat in row 7, feeling his chest tighten. Around him, people were turning, whispering, some with excitement, most with terror. Everyone in that theater knew what James Brown did to musicians who disrespected the craft. He'd fired entire bands mid-song, and now he was calling out Prince. James Brown stood waiting, cape on his shoulders, looking like a king about to judge a pretender. The house lights came up slightly, illuminating the aisle. "I don't have all night, young blood. You coming up or you scared?" Prince stood slowly. His hands were shaking. He'd performed for 50,000 people in the rain. But this was different. This was facing your father's judgment. He started walking toward the stage. The aisle seemed to stretch forever. Each step felt like walking toward an altar or a guillotine. People on either side reached out, some touching his coat. One woman grabbed his hand and squeezed. "Make us proud, baby." When he reached the stage stairs, James Brown's band parted like the Red Sea. The horn section stepped back, creating a path. They'd seen James destroy challengers before, and now it was Prince's turn. If you've ever had to prove yourself to someone you admired, drop a comment below. Because what you're about to witness isn't just a performance. It's a son meeting his father. And if this already has your heart racing, hit that subscribe button right now. Prince climbed onto the stage. James Brown stood 6 feet away, shirt unbuttoned, chest heaving. At 50, he looked like a warrior. Prince, 25, looked like a child. "What's your name?" James asked, though he knew. "Prince." "Prince what?" "Just Prince." James smiled, a predator's smile. "You know how to dance?" The trap was set. Prince chose the unexpected answer. "Show me how." The crowd gasped. Nobody asked the Godfather to demonstrate. James Brown's face went through shock, anger, and then respect. Because Prince hadn't challenged him, he'd submitted. James stared for 5 seconds, then snapped his fingers. "Give me the vamp, E minor, slow." The band fell into a grinding funk groove. James Brown began to move. James didn't just dance, he became the dance. His feet hit patterns so complex they looked choreographed, but were pure instinct. The famous shuffleball change at triple speed. Spins so sharp his cape whipped the air. Slides covering 15 feet in one smooth motion. Then the split. That legendary James Brown split. At 50, after 2 hours of performing, he dropped straight down, legs extending in opposite directions. The crowd gasped. He held it for 3 beats, then snapped back up like his body was made of rubber and steel. Sweat flying off him like rain. This was James Brown reminding Prince there were levels to this game. After 90 seconds, James stopped and pointed. "Your turn." The band kept playing. 4,200 people held their breath. Prince stepped forward. His mind was racing. He couldn't copy James. So he did the only thing that made sense. He found his own pocket. Where James was aggressive, Prince was fluid. Where James attacked the beat like a boxer, Prince seduced it like a lover. His footwork minimal but perfectly timed. His spin slower but hypnotic. his body spiraling like smoke. The crowd leaned forward. This wasn't competition. This was conversation. Then Prince dropped into his own split, not as deep as James, but he held it longer. And while down there, he began playing air guitar, miming the funk riff pulsing through the speakers, making the audience see the music. The crowd erupted. Prince came up, spun twice, and stopped directly in front of James. Not challenging, acknowledging. "This is your house." James smiled. A real one. He grabbed the microphone. "Not bad, young blood. You got your own thing. I respect that." Then paused. "But you're not done yet," the crowd murmured. James turned to the audience. "I heard another young king is in the building tonight. Somebody who knows about dancing himself." He pointed to VIP section. "Michael Jackson, stop hiding and get up here." The theater exploded because Michael was there. Second row, red leather jacket, fedora pulled low, and James had just called him out too. Michael Jackson stood slowly. The crowd's reaction was seismic. He climbed the stairs with effortless grace. When he reached the stage, he removed his fedora, revealing that famous curl, and nodded at James. Then looked at Prince. Their eyes met. The two biggest stars of the new generation under the watchful eye of the man who made their careers possible. James Brown stood between them. "Now let's see what y'all got. Together." He gestured to his bandleader. "Give me Sex Machine. Up tempo. Don't stop till I tell you." The band exploded, and for the next 8 minutes, the Beverly Theater became sacred space. Three kings operating on instinct, feeding off each other's energy. James led. His stage, his song, his throne. He danced like a man possessed, screaming, "Get up! Get on up!" between movements. Dropping to his knees, popping back up, spinning. Michael watched for 30 seconds, then stepped in. Technical perfection. Every move crisp, isolated. The moonwalk started slow, then accelerated across the stage. Old school meeting, new. Prince stayed back initially, watching, learning. Then James grabbed his arm and pulled him center. "Don't just watch, young blood. Do." And Prince did. He found space between James's power and Michael's precision. Guitar poses, rock star energy, sexual fluidity. They created visual dialogue. James hit a camel walk. Michael answered with a spin. Prince added a guitar solo mime. Call and response in pure movement. The band was losing their minds. The horn section adding stabs. The crowd standing, screaming, some weeping. This wasn't a concert anymore. This was witnessing history. At minute 5, all three hit synchronized spins. Nobody rehearsed it. The music demanded it, and they all felt it. The crowd's roar nearly drowned out the band. At the 7-minute mark, James Brown stopped. Just stopped mid-movement. Stood center stage, chest heaving, sweat pouring down his face and neck. Michael and Prince stopped immediately, confused. The band kept playing for 2 more bars before the drummer caught the signal and brought it down to silence. James walked slowly to the front of the stage and grabbed the microphone. When he spoke, his voice was quiet, serious, stripped of all performance. "Y'all just witnessed something that won't happen again. Not like this. Not with these 3 people on this stage." He paused, catching his breath. "These 2 young kings here, they're the future, and the future is in good hands." He turned to face them directly. "But don't ever forget who built the road you're walking on. Don't forget who invented the language you're speaking. Don't forget the price that was paid." His voice got harder. "Before moonwalking and Purple Rain, before MTV and sold-out arenas, there was me, and people like me, breaking our backs in Chitlin circuit clubs where we couldn't use the front door. Getting arrested in towns where the crime was being too black, too loud, too funky for white folks to handle." His voice cracked. "I did that. We did that. So you could do this. So you could be on MTV, sell out stadiums, be whoever you want, love whoever you want, make whatever music you want without asking permission." He pointed at them. "But you stand on my shoulders, both of you. And when they try to erase me, when they try to pretend funk started with synthesizers and drum machines, when they write their histories and make me a footnote, I need you to remember this night. Remember who taught you. Remember who walked through fire so you could dance in the light? James looked at Prince specifically, really looked at him. You hear me, young blood? Prince nodded, tears streaming down his face. I hear you. I swear I hear you. Good. James's voice softened. Now get off my stage, both of you. I got a show to finish. But his eyes said something else. Something like pride. Something like love. But before they could leave, James did something nobody expected. He removed his iconic cape, the red gold-trimmed cape that symbolized his status as the Godfather. He walked to Prince, draped it over his shoulders. The crowd gasped. Then James removed his shirt and handed it to Michael Jackson, the old king blessing the new kings, the master acknowledging the students. Prince stood there unable to speak. Michael held the shirt like a holy relic. James smiled. Now you're not just visitors. You're family. Don't embarrass me. He turned and walked off stage, left them standing there. The standing ovation lasted 6 minutes. Not for James Brown, for what they'd just witnessed. The moment when music history's lineage became visible. Backstage, Prince found James in his dressing room, towel around his neck, drinking water, looking exhausted but somehow younger. Prince knocked softly. James looked up. Come in, young blood. Prince entered, still wearing the cape. I don't know what to say. Then don't. Just sit down. James pointed to a folding chair. Prince sat. They were quiet for a moment. Then James spoke. You know why I called you up tonight? To test me. No, to claim you. Prince looked up, confused. James set down the water. I've been watching you for 2 years, and I see myself in you. The hunger, the refusal to be put in a box, the need to do it all yourself. He paused. But I also see you making the same mistakes I made, thinking you invented it all, thinking respect for the past makes you weak. Prince started to speak, but James held up a hand. Let me finish. Funk didn't start with you. It didn't start with me either. It goes back to the blues, back to Africa. We're all just links in a chain, young blood. Important links, but links nonetheless. He leaned forward. You're gifted, more gifted than I was at your age. But gift without work is wasted, and gift without respect for those who came before is arrogance, and arrogance kills careers. Prince's voice was barely a whisper. I understand. Do you? Because out there tonight, you wanted to prove you belong. But belonging isn't about proving anything. It's about understanding your place in the story, understanding that you're a chapter, not the whole book. James stood, put both hands on Prince's shoulders. You write a beautiful chapter, Prince, one of the best I've ever seen. Just don't forget which chapter you are. And when I'm gone, it's your job to teach the next ones. That's the real work. Passing it forward. Prince left that night with the cape folded in his arms. Never wore it publicly, but visitors to Paisley Park saw it in a glass case. Plaque underneath, The Godfather's Blessing. November 19, 1983. Never forget the shoulders you stand on. Michael kept the shirt. When he died in 2009, it was found labeled James Brown, The Night I Learned Humility. The performance was never recorded, before smartphones, but everyone there told the story. The legend grew. From 1983 until James's death in 2006, Prince never spoke publicly about it. But when asked about influences, he always said, James Brown taught me being talented isn't enough. You have to respect the craft, honor those who came before. When James Brown died Christmas Day 2006, Prince performed at the memorial wearing all black except one thing, a red and gold pin, the cape colors. Before performing, he spoke. The Godfather called me to his stage in 1983. I was terrified. Instead of destroying me, he adopted me. Tonight I say thank you. For the blessing, for the lesson, for the shoulders. So what about you? Whose shoulders are you standing on? Hit subscribe if this reminded you that we're all part of a larger story. Share this with someone who needs to remember that respect isn't weakness, it's strength. Drop a comment about a moment when someone older and wiser taught you something that changed your life. Next time you think you invented something, remember November 19, 1983. 3 kings on one stage. The Godfather could have destroyed 2 pretenders, but instead blessed them and sent them forward with his name on their backs. Legacy isn't about being the best. It's about making sure the best comes after you. James Brown understood that. Prince learned it. Michael lived it. Now it's your turn.